Kath and Ren are twin sisters who are very close. Their mother left them when they were very young, and ever since then, they have only had each other and their dad, who was literally crazy. The only world Kath ever knew was her and Ren versus all the crazy stuff going on, and the fictional world of Simon Snow. A book full of magic and adventures. Kath is now starting a new adventure at college, alone, because Ren has decided to venture off and meet new people, leaving Kath to face the world by herself for the first time in her life. While Ren goes out partying every night with her new friend, Kath locks herself inside of her room with protein bars and her laptop, trying to avoid the world. Kath's roommate, Regan, makes this easier for her to accomplish by rarely ever being in their room. Although Levi, Regan's boyfriend, relentlessly tries to get Kath to open up to the world and other people. Kath is currently having a great difficulty coping with the world, but things begin to look up when she meets a boy named Nick in her fiction writing class. Kath was starting to think that they were becoming good friends, because they would often get together and write a story. Kath thinks that their friendship could evolve into something more, but Nick only shows interest towards her when they are writing. Kath needs advice on how to carry on with Nick and would like to ask Ren for advice, but Kath is still angry at Ren for abandoning her, and Ren is angry at Kath because she thinks Kath is overreacting. After weeks of Levi's annoying, giddy self, she finally begins to consider him a friend. Levi comes to Kath to ask for help with studying with the test, and Kath agrees to help. Their study session ended up lasting much longer than they thought it would, and they were so exhausted by the end of it that they ended up in each other's arms, falling to sleep while kissing. The next morning, Regan walks in on them, asleep with each other. She wasn't mad, but she was surprised. Levi immediately leaves for work, leaving Kath and Regan in the room. Kath bursts into tears as Regan comforts her and tells her that it doesn't matter, because they weren't actually dating. Regan tells Kath, "I knew he liked you. He was there constantly. I just didn't know that you liked him back." Levi has been texting Kath a lot, and Kath has been ignoring him because she was embarrassed. Kath realizes that she does have feelings for Levi, and agrees to go to a party with Regan to see him. When Kath arrives, she finds Levi kissing another girl. Levi, not knowing that Kath saw him making out with another girl, is curious why Kath hasn't been texting him since their study session. Just when Kath thinks that things couldn't get worse, Nick steals the story they were writing together. Then her dad is put in a mental hospital, and the only person who can drive her there is none other than Levi himself. After everything that has happened, Kath decides that she does not want to go back to school and that she wants to stay home and look after her dad. Kath's dad convinces her that she has to go back to school. Kath finds out through her dad that Ren has been talking to their mother and that she will be spending Thanksgiving with her. Kath still has a grudge with her mother for leaving them and not coming back, so Kath refuses to see her. Kath and Ren are still not talking to each other, and when Kath goes back to school, her and Levi decide to forgive and to forget and start a relationship together. The teacher finds out that Nick stole Kath's story, and so Kath gets full credit for it. Ren is soon hospitalized for alcohol poisoning and sees her mistakes with drinking and leaving Kath. So the two girls forgive each other and move on. Kath sees her mother after years and tells her that she will not give her a second chance because she left them and it wasn't the right thing to do. The story ends with Kath and her friends and family all planning their future together. I give this book 4 out of 5 stars because it was a great book. It was enjoyable, easy to read, funny, sad at times, and everything a good book should be. For an independent novel study, I would most definitely recommend this book because it's very relatable, especially with grade 9 students. The book may be about Kath in college, but it really grasps the concept of change and how it can be exciting and scary at the same time. I can confidently say that this book is a good choice because it makes you question what's going on. For example, why would he do that? How is she going to react? And how will this affect their relationship? These are questions that my group had when Kath caught Levi kissing another girl. People who like books full of mystery and adventure might not love this book because it has to do with the battle of independence and not so much monster hunting.
Who is the protagonist and antagonist of this novel? Throughout the novel, the main character, Kath, is the protagonist because the novel is followed through her perspective. The antagonists are Nick and, in some cases, her twin sister, Ren. Nick befriends Kath in their creative writing class and later begins to write together in the library outside of classes. Nick then takes advantage of Kath and takes offense against her, causing the two to grow hate to each other. Ren, however, has made a dramatic personality change when college begins and takes different sides to Kath, leading the two to not be close and take different paths. What are some examples of moral values in the novel? An example of a moral value found throughout the novel is loyalty. Kath has made many friends during college and has gained loyalty to each other, influencing their relationships. For example, Ren, Kath's roommate who didn't have a liking to Kath in the beginning, has gained her loyalty and later influenced their relationship to grow on each other more. How does the character Nick influence Kath in the novel? Throughout the novel, Kath befriends Nick, a boy she meets in her class, and later begins to write stories together in the library outside of school. Nick decides to take the story of the two are writing and use it as one of his own to submit for an assignment at school. The influence this has on Kath lets her see how people can manipulate her and be a different person when they see an opportunity. This action was later caught by their teacher, and Kath was rather rewarded to what Nick has done. In the novel Fangirl, the main character, Kath, has experienced college for the first time without her twin sister, Ren, who has always been at her side. How do you believe Kath's journey throughout college has changed her perspective of the world? Throughout the novel, Kath was always known to readers to be someone who would rather be closed up and write fanfiction in her dorm room, more like her twin sister, Ren, who would rather open up and go to college frat parties. Readers get to follow Kath throughout the course of the novel and see how Kath has developed as a person. She develops many relationships that have led to conflicts that have made her step out of her comfort zone and see the world at a different angle, shaping who she has become at the end of the novel. Readers also have to examine how Kath deals with her situations and the outcome that goes along with it. As Kath enters this journey as one person and ends it as another, her perspective of the world has changed. How does the author use multiple points of view throughout the novel? Throughout the novel, Rainbow Rowell decides to have the main character, Kath, the only point of view in Fangirl. As Kath navigates her way through a new beginning, Rowell builds up how Kath changes throughout the novel and how the innocence of her past is far away from her now. And the point of view from Kath drastically evolves and still shows different perspectives of different characters. Does the author use literary devices throughout the novel? Throughout the novel, Rainbow Rowell does not use any literary devices because how she has written this novel is to reflect the way Kath analyzes her everyday life. And Kath is not the kind of person to overanalyze her situations and think beyond, but rather be simplistic.
Seriously, you know what love feels like. I've read you describe it 1,000 different ways. Page 77. Ren is trying to make Kath feel better after Kath and her boyfriend broke up. This is important to the plot because it's saying that Kath has been in love, but not in a romantic relationship way. She is in love with Simon and Baz and writing beautiful fanfic with them. Levi likes you, you like him. Page 182. This is important to the plot because it is when Kath had a huge crush on Levi, which led to their relationship. If it meant being here in the area with you, instead of being somewhere else with someone else, I would gladly make the sacrifice. Page 395. This is important to the plot because it is when Levi and Kath were in an official relationship, and Kath says she would prefer to be with him instead of to finish her fanfiction.
Kath is the protagonist of the novel. She has long brown hair and she wears glasses. She writes fanfiction and she does not enjoy interacting with people. She is an introvert and would rather stay in than go out. Kath is a dynamic character. She stays in her room and doesn't want to interact with people. As the book progresses, Kath begins to open up to people, talk to them, and let them in. She is still kept to herself, but she opens up a little bit to the special people in her life. Levi is Regan's boyfriend. He hangs around Kath quite a bit and tries to get her to open up to people and also tries to get closer to her. He's very energetic and smiley. Levi is a static character. He doesn't change throughout the book. He stays the same. Ren is Kath's twin sister. She is the opposite of Kath and wants to be separate from her. She is outgoing and loves talking to people and going to parties. Ren is a dynamic character. She changes throughout the story. She used to mostly hang out with Kath and write fan fiction with her. As the book goes on, Ren doesn't want to be with Kath any longer. She wants to explore new things and meet new people.
She would rather go out to a party than write fan fiction.
In the novel by Rainbow Rowell, the theme growing up doesn't mean you have to let go of your childhood. It means you can grow up and become a responsible adult, but it doesn't mean you have to stop doing things that are considered childish. For example, writing fan fiction about a fictional world of magic. While growing up may seem stepping out of your comfort zone and doing new things, meeting new people, etc., you can always hold on to something that will keep your imagination alive and keep that little bit of child with you forever. An example of the theme coming of age is the quote, "It looked like a kid's room now that she was imagining it through his eyes. It was big, a half story with a slanted roof, deep pink carpet, and 2 matching cream-colored canopy beds." This is because sometimes you need someone else to give their opinion so you can see things from their eyes. Another example of the theme coming of age is their dad still hasn't taken down their swing set. She wished he would. It was a death trap now, and the neighbors' kids like to sneak into the yard and play on it. This is because when Kath goes home after being away at college, she's ready for the swing set to come down, but not so much for the Simon Snow poster too. Growing up doesn't all happen at once. Another example of the theme of coming of age is, "Honey, I've watched a lot of 90210. The parents weren't even on the show yet once Brandon and Brenda went to college. This is your time. You're supposed to be going to frat parties and getting back together with Dylan." This is because even Kath's dad is telling Kath to live up to her age and have a little fun. In the novel Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell, one of the many themes is that you can never be truly happy if you don't take risks. This is an important theme because Kath learns that isolating herself may protect her from getting hurt, but it will stop her from making friends or falling in love or living any sort of life. She would block out any social interaction that she is able to and believe she is content with her choice. She would rather be alone in her room than interact or be with other people. After Levi introduces the wonders of the world to her, Kath starts to realize that life is worth the risk of getting hurt. An example of the theme that you can never be truly happy if you don't take risks is the quotation, Kath could already feel the anxiety starting to tear her stomach into nervous little pieces. It's not just that. I don't like new places, new situations. There will be all those people and I won't know where to sit. I don't want to go. Anxiety is common in college students, so when Kath is isolating herself, it doesn't automatically mean she's a snob. It might mean she's suffering. Kath is missing out on new experiences, even if it is just going out to the cafeteria down the hall. Another example of the theme that you can never be truly happy if you don't take risks is the quote, "You're a little sad hermit, and it creeps me out. So get dressed, we're going bowling." This is because this is the first time that Regan shows tough love towards Kath, and it's the beginning of a beautiful friendship. Our last example of the theme that you can never be truly happy if you don't take risks is the quotation, "In some cases, she was actively trying to not make friends, though she usually stopped short of being rude. Uptight, tense, and mildly misanthropic? Yes. Rude? No." This is because if your mom leaving you defines your childhood, it makes sense that you wouldn't let people in that easy. After all, nobody can leave you if you never let them in.